Hey everybody, I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and this is Stone-Faced Reaction, where we are watching Tokyo 24th Ward, and we are at the finale. So many things have happened. We've spent hours talking about this show, and finally, they're going to go ahead and rescue a dead body.
Legally dead, yes.
Legally dead, but maybe not technically dead. We'll have to figure it out. Laws aren't the basis of morality, but don't put your daughter's corpse into a machine anyway.
I mean, laws aren't the basis of morality. Morality is the basis of law.
You'll find often it isn't either.
Well, not if you have that kind of outlook. It's not. The only
Right.
way to change things for the better is to have the best outlook to change things.
So, pitchfork and torches. Got it. So,
No, we
what
already had
happened
that, and they
last
were
time?
beating cops. Son of a bitch.
They were beating cops. But that was 2 episodes ago. What was the last episode?
That was all three characters beating each other.
That was right. Oh, they had the friendship beatdown, which is the best thing ever.
And then a little bit of a cry to not having their friend around anymore to be able to show them everything they've done since they've died.
Right. I think more specifically, they've set up this MacGuffin, this drive, which has the specific data needed to accomplish one of the two tasks, which is either to permanently put their dead friend slash sister to sleep forever, to be forever tortured inside the system, but no longer able to respond or do anything about it, aka completely dead, or B, take her out of the system and she dies. And then it is not a problem anymore.
Well, no, A is not so she can be tortured forever and not be able to do anything. She's only being tortured when her friends are in danger. That is she's not being
I
tortured by everything else. All of the predictions and everything she's not conscious for, so she's not being tortured by it. She becomes conscious when her friends or anybody that she knew in life has been put in danger or has a
right.
prediction made about
I
them.
it might be being a little hyperbolic. She's definitely under stress during those periods. Yeah, you're right. But I think the implication in general is that she's kind of in this weird state. She's being used as a computer. This isn't really right. Even the people who made it had hangups about putting a human brain in it, no matter the condition. And the people who originally worked on it with the big governor character, uh, are very much so opposed of even putting the corpse of a person in there, uh, because they are running basically a mind-body problem here.
Well, I recognize that you're being hyperbolic, but I'm
Yeah,
clarifying for not just
mhm,
the sake of clarification, but also for the sake of
yeah,
character motivation. Because you
mhm.
remember Green's whole idea was if I just prevent those things from popping up, my sister won't be tortured anymore. And again, we're using the word torture. It's emotional torture in that she wakes
Yeah,
up,
yeah, yeah.
is confused about what's going on, and kind of freaks out a little bit.
Panics, calls her friends. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's not so much like she's in physical pain, it's more that she is in emotional distress.
yeah. Green has two motives in this. Where one, this is his sister, and two, he also has an interest or invested interest in maybe keeping this machine operational. So he has multiple things going on that he's trying to accomplish, and they can all be accomplished if he uses this disc thing.
Right, right. It's
Hmm.
he is assured that the system works. He says it works 90 something percent of the time, which is
Yeah.
basically as good as working 100% of the time, and that if
Right.
he can mitigate the results of the thing that causes her distress, then basically she is just as good as being asleep,
Hmm.
basically. And yeah, I mean, my problem with this episode is that we're going to get the virtual dive, and we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen once before where it didn't make any sense because we're seeing Red typing at a computer and then just daydreaming an emotional dive, a virtual dive through a system in a hacker
We're getting the
style.
visual metaphor, yeah, and it's striking because it's not an actual things happening when everything else has been highly literal so far,
Yeah, he's
right?
not wearing the VR mask, which I think we've seen him wear before, which means that he's done VR things before. But he's just sitting there typing, and then in the virtual world, dumps a Red Bull on his head, which he doesn't do in reality, so I don't know what the hell it
He,
means.
he he did it like in one of the early episodes, like to hype himself up a little bit, but it is it was entirely metaphor, yes.
Right, right, but the thing is, if they show us that metaphor, and in the same scene, right, they showed us her perspective, which is metaphor, or is she really in the virtual space?
Right,
It,
and that's where it starts to become confusing now. Are these things actually happening in a true perspective? Is it metaphorical where it's not really happening and she's just like a brain in a jar right now? What is happening? And I suspect that this episode should clarify all of this, get it up front, and then use it to make a terrible decision.
well, it's funny that you say clarify, because my next sentence was going to be it breaches into a serial experiments lane territory where
Mhm.
nothing gets explained. We have hints and storyline like
Oh,
threads that just phew, they
Oh, but
shred off.
Serial Experiment spends like 3 episodes having the guy monologue to you about what's going on,
Right, right, but
which
it
is
doesn't
the anime
resolve.
ending we talked about last
It
time.
doesn't resolve though, right? Like
hmm
we get monologued at, we have introspection, we have weird ass visuals, but at the end of the day, try to tell me 100% what's going on, and you couldn't. It's impossible.
Right. I at least have some faith in this author. I think they've been doing pretty well. I think that they will not just leave us completely in the dark. Like, we don't need to know exactly how the hypnophone works, just that someone did it. But they are going to tell us what the consequences and reality of things are.
Well, we already know
That's the
how the
important
we
part.
already know how the hypnophone works. They explained it.
Yeah.
The
Well,
same
I mean, I was giving it
episode,
as like a rapid fire
the
example,
same
because we
episode
have
as
this
the
big brain
terrorist got
machine.
shot in the head. Gotta
Yeah.
explain.
Yeah, they aren't going to go into a neuroscience degree in this episode. They're going to go, you have the choice. Are you going to kill her or leave her confined but asleep forever?
A, we can join the Reapers, or B, you can jump down this pit and sacrifice your life, or C, the blue ending.
I'm going to choose Paragon.
Renegade
Wait,
for
no,
life.
Renegade. Wait, both. I'm going to mix 50-50 of my options.
Oh man, if we get the
I'm going to
ending,
choose.
if
Oh,
we get the
gosh.
ending where we're sitting with like a mother, I mean a grandpa and a smaller girl 100 years from now, talking about what these three kids did in Tokyo 24th Ward,
Mommy, what happened 100 years ago? Well, 3 kids with dyed hair fucked stuff up really badly.
let
Can
me
you tell me how? Oh, of
let me tell
course.
you about a man named Shepard or a woman named Shepard. It's very up in the air.
Uh, gosh, BioWare naming schemes. So, I'm definitely excited. This is going to be their little shadow run on this facility. We're going to see how this goes down.
Well, I mean, we also have our predicted endings that we did last episode.
hmm And our worst endings of all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. Even if it's the worst ending, even the worst ending's a little bit good, right?
I mean, we have a large precipice that we stand in front of, that we're sitting on the peak of a mountain, right? And
hmm
either we have the Everest ahead of us, more mountain to scale, and things can only go up from here. We could just plateau. We've hit the best we're going to get, and we're just going to get more of the same.
hmm
Or we could be just walking over the edge of a cliff, and things are all downhill from here.
Yes, 12 episodes of build-up, of wonderful writing, of great introspection and stuff happening here, and and then it just drops at the last second.
I mean, it's entirely possible. The ending is always the hardest thing to stick. I mean,
Mhm.
it's been the death knell of many a writer of what if it was all a dream, right? I don't
It is the
know.
perfect gymnastics routine where they've done several flips, they've done balances, they've done a magnificent job, 10 out of 10, and at the finale they just snap their neck.
Yeah, yeah. I'm I'm rotating at 1,000 RPM through the air here. Everyone's on the edge of their seats. I don't know how I'm gonna stick this landing.
Just face first. There can be no better way.
Literally, the momentum is carrying me far too quickly. I don't know how to end this.
Well, I guess needless to say, we are hype. Let's watch.
One last prediction. What if
One
it
last
ends?
prediction.
What if it ends on a black screen that says "continued in season 2"?
I would actually maybe be excited about that, but also a little put off.
Gotta buy ourselves some time. Couldn't figure out how to finish it.
We would get more of it, but then it would resolve and it would be stretched out another 12 episodes. I don't know which one I would
The
want
problem is in the time between seasons, you would lose some of that hype, and you'd have time to analyze and break down everything that was wrong.
Why didn't he just Superman jump up there and use his laser vision?
Because Zordon didn't give him the power yet.
Ah, dang, that's right. Power Rangers can't escalate a fight. Alright, speaking of escalation, let's watch. Exactly where we left off. They know what they must do.
None of these kids have earwax, by the way.
ダン君に CMD を渡せば私の意識の実在が証明され
Oh, here we go.
お父さんは罪に問われる結果投票は中止家内システムは解体されて24区には今まで通りの自由だけれど安全の保証されない日々が戻る
People dead in the streets. Amazing.
お兄ちゃんに CMD を渡せばハザードキャストのバグが修正されて区民投票が実行家内システム関連法案が成立徹底した個人情報提供が義務化されて24区にプライバシーを対象にした安全の保障された日々が訪
So the
れ
modern
So
world.
basically modern world.
プライバシーか善を重視する安全か24区の未来を RGB の3人で選択して
You know, one of those two didn't involve dead people lying in the streets. Just throwing that out.
バイバイ
Nope, just dead people in the back of police cars.
That wasn't in the imagery. She could have shown them anything.
Don't bye me.
中をされて未来なんて選べるわけねえから
Wait, are they seeing that?
アスミに会いに行く
Yeah, I think so.
奇遇だな
I think that's why the weird eyes thing's going on.
アスミンの居場所あそこだよねどこで情報をかすめたんだかな
What?
待たせたな
Oh, Frankenstein.
いつも通りのグッタイム
Were you just an amazing driver this whole time? And we never cashed that in.
No, I think we've seen him driving before, along with that other girl that wears yellow.
But not being an amazing driver.
外形の配置は予想できるしゅうちゃん
Why do you get to predict it? You have access to the building.
ほら去年作ってたやつおお完成してたんだ渡せてよかった
Hey, super suit.
生かすじゃねえ
Did not predict the superhero ending to the show.
Alright, all predictions off the table. This
By
is
the
Superman
way-
Origins.
By the way, I've been like Static Shock's sidekick character that makes him cool devices this whole time.
今なら世代が残した基礎データを大幅に短時間で改造できるこいつを使えばアスミンと直で会話できるはず
Alright, so they are going to have a direct conversation,
なんで
not a
あんなこと
metaphor.
するのさっきのはお別れの連絡だったのに
I just contact you to say goodbye.
会いたくないの会ってしまったら私
Yeah, see, now they're actively torturing her by causing this.
危ねえな運転手がいない自動運転だ
She can actually cause glitches and cause
交通
accidents.
システムを含んだ包括的なシステムやっぱど俺たちに来てほしくないみたいねマジかよへこむぜ強情なのは血筋だな昔からそうだあいつは本当の気持ちはあって聞き出さなきゃわからない シュウちゃん、この先でトレーラーを止めるよ。は？どうやって？お、マップ送ったよ。それ見て周囲に被害出ないようによろしく。おいっと。
Are those actually in deployment anywhere right now? I keep seeing that idea pop up all over the place.
Well, I mean, they're usually in front of buildings, not like in the middle of roads.
It is the superhero ending.
Yeah, we've been waiting for the actual Sentai this whole time, and here we are. So weird now. So weird and out of place all of a sudden.
It's not entirely out of left field, but it is just a bit silly after everything that's
just
happened.
super kicked a semi-trailer. It is out of left field. It's not anything anywhere near what he's been able to do before.
They needed more superhero stuff. That's my stance. I want more superhero.
I mean, it's what sold us on it, but now we're 12 episodes in and it's so weirdly out of place.
Gotta make the finale spectacular and sell the battle armor. Gosh, Tokyo 24th Ward toys.
Oh, everyone's getting designated as terrorists. He's not the one doing it.
冤罪で市民が次々拘束されています。ハザードキャストに異常があるのでは？そのような報告は受けておりません。
They're just not a problem, I swear.
完璧です。
It's been perfect so far.
It's perfect. Everyone is actually terrorists.
バッキャロー！シュウちゃんがんなことするわけあるか！
そうよ、こんなの変よ。中村さんも任意同行されたって。
やっぱり家内システムは
Again, they're the ones causing everyone to be labeled as terrorists, though.
私たちもデモに参加しましょう。
Even the old guys are going out.
Again, that's the only ending that winds up with dead people on the street.
They can't hear you from that distance. Or maybe they can.
No, he's dead. Again, these are kicks that destroyed a semi-trailer. Again, those were our heroes from episode 1. The cops, I mean, not RGB.
Oh no, a door.
Again, you kick down a semi-trailer.
What are we gonna do? It's closed though.
It literally didn't shut, like, hard. It had no weight behind it.
They're all locked out.
Because of their own actions. They're literally causing all these problems. Yep, that's why you create an AI, and they have the AI design a better AI. They literally had to abandon. They had to abandon the door because once again, the guy who could kick through a semi-trailer couldn't beat a shutter.
I guess to be fair, he could probably put dents into it, but not exactly rip it off.
He kicked a semi-trailer through the air.
They're on an elevator in an automated building.
Couldn't stop that, right? Never been a movie about people stuck in an elevator in an evil
I like that
convertible
they're
building.
all doing it. Oh wait, no, he's just dragging along. Okay.
God, I just can't believe I didn't see the action ending coming. Your friends are kind of
私には
jerks.
希
Think
望
about
な
it.
んていらないの。みんなが幸せな未来なんて夢だって知ったから。
シャンティタウンの悪ガキに無限の可能性があるって教えてくれたのはアスミンちゃんか。決められたレールを選べとか、そんなの俺たちのキャラじゃないっしょ。どんなに不可能に見えても向き合って話し合って知恵を出し合えば解決できる。
Yeah, this is some of the normal anime stuff right here. Character who gave us hope, we're gonna rescue them and give them back hope.
私は何かを諦めないとダメなの。それが大人になるってことでしょ。
Yeah. Becoming an adult sucks.
This is heading towards the Centris ending, though.
Which you hate, but I would be fine with.
Oh wow, that
literally
exploded.
knocked his socks off. Now we can add that to the tin, right? An ending that'll knock your socks off.
正面から向き合うのが怖いんだろう。だからお前には
What if she called them back? What if she just called them back and took the power away?
It's never clear how it goes away. It seems like it just fades after stuff is over.
Yeah, it really feels like she could just take it away, like, or you know,
Maybe
call them and say, "Hey, please don't come back in here. I'm literally trying to stop you."
maybe she doesn't have control over that.
観念したようだな。
Here we go, creepy ass basement with corpse.
There's all the people that were in the room a minute ago. The assistant was in there, and there was a couple of...
No, the control room is a different room. This is the core room.
No, it has
which,
the big tube in it, too. Remember? She's in the control room and looking at Asumi the whole time.
No, she was in the control room.
Yeah, which is this room. Once again, impeccable ears.
There we go. The deep dive is not a metaphor, it is real.
No, it's still a metaphor. They're on their cell phones.
想像のための破壊だ。こんなのはカナエさんが望んだ世界じゃない。まだヒーローごっこか。上等だ。区長、降りてデモ隊と対話を。これじゃいつ死者が出てもおかしくありません。住民投票にとってはプラスだ。あんたは。
Wow.
あんたはそうじゃなかった。貴様がそれを。
Oh, please give everyone powers.
That would be positively ridiculous.
Am I wrong?
What a move.
Am I wrong? Is it gonna happen?
This episode of Superpowered Beatdown, the entire city versus itself.
このままじゃ家内システムはもっと暴走する。私が消えるか拡散するかしないといつまでも私が残っていてはいけないの。みんなとお別れしなきゃ。
そんなことは
他に方法ないよね。そうでしょ。
まあね。でも俺たちは
やめて。もうこれ以上私を苦しめないで。受け入れるか壊すか。
Everyone is literally seeing it, it's not a metaphor.
私はみんなといられない。私はもう人間じゃない。私は家内システムそのものなの。24区で過去に起こ
Yeah,
った
for the random people who have literally no context to what's going on right now.
Everyone becomes completely and fully informed.
新しい未来を選ぶってことは間違った未来を切り捨てること。救えない人間を決める誰かがやらなきゃならないことだもの。
違う。そんな責任人には耐えられない。耐えられないからカナエシステムを作ったのだ。なのにアスミの意識が残っていた。
He offloaded his responsibility onto a device and then realized this device actually also has responsibility.
今更あったって話したって意味ない。忘れてよ。ずっと言ってるのにどうして来たの。こんなの
Because you're selfish, that's why.
Classic Blue right there.
話したいとか生きてるのか確かめたいとかなんでサイファーを飛ばしたのか知りたいとか火事のこと謝りたいとか頭の中ぐちゃぐちゃでこんがらがってわけわかんなくて
This is just entirely personal for him.
今も本当は
I mean, it's literally a chance to say goodbye to your friend who died a year ago.
Exactly. They were literally on the ground crying about it last episode.
一人でこんなに苦しんで苦しみまくったアスミがそんな顔してるのが俺納得いかねえんだ俺たちがお前の代わりになるよ誰かに責任を押し付けたりしない自分の未来は自分で導いてやるよだからそんな重荷をシュータたちが背負うなんてダメ無理だよ
Yeah. What if you could just plug random people in for a short period of time, instead of one person all the time?
みんなが意見をぶつけ合ってその中で掴み取るしかないんだでももし失敗したら取り返しがつかないんだよ失ったからじゃ遅いんだよ失敗するだろうねまた何かを失うんだろうね
There we go, realist.
どうなろうと結果を受け入れることその覚悟ができる選択を俺たちの手でとことん探すそれしかないっしょでもそんなことできるいや絶対にやってやる Yes, we can
English.
Sorry, what'd you say? I don't understand English.
不可能はない
Sure hope this music doesn't get copyright claimed.
Getting real memories of nobody vibes.
RGB ならできちゃうかもねそんな未来一緒に見てみたかったな
アスミお前分かってるだろうアスミはもう死んでいる俺たちは彼女とお別れに来たんじゃいや嫌だそんなの俺納得いかねえわかんねえだって俺がヒーローになったのはアスミお前のためなんだお前が喜んでくれるからお前がただ笑ってくれるから
シュータありがとうシュータ
お前笑ってアスミ俺お前が好きだ
私も
He gets to say it, and then she fades out.
何を言っている俺の方が愛しているに決まっているそうだろアスミ
お兄ちゃんもうシスコン
俺様ちゃんだって愛してるよアートの女神様
Dang, we got 2 polycule endings today, huh?
No.
No, this is clearly more platonic.
Well, one of them is.
Yeah.
アスミちゃんのおかげで私生きてるよありがとう僕だって大好きです一歩踏み出すきっかけをありがとうございました大好きだよ大好きです
愛しているぞアスミ愛している
大好きよ大好きじゃアスミちゃん愛してる大好き
大好きだぜなんかよくわかんねえけど
There we go. The one person that cries like, I don't get what's happening here.
大好きです
大好き
Well, I mean, for all these people, she's been the one responsible for keeping them safe all this time, so even if they don't understand what's going on, they understand that much.
でももう限界かな。ねえ、私のヒーロー、お願い聞いてくれる？
お願いって。
そろそろお別れしたいんだ。
それが本当にお前の望みなのか？
シュータをずっと見てたよ。見てらんないくらいかっこ悪かったよ。私のことでシュータが前に進めないのは嫌だな。シュータも前に進んで。
I mean, independent of all this, he now has the mechanisms to become an actual fucking superhero in real life.
That is true.
そんなこと言われたら俺さよなら、アスミ。
さよなら、シュータ。
Once again, they're all on their phones right now. They're not actually in the virtual world.
If only they'd put down their phones and live, talk to each other. Wait. Someone in the background just playing Flappy Birds.
課題システムの真実をお話しします。
Oh, he's barely cleaned up. He's still got like red eyes. Just went straight to it.
そうですよね。かなえ様。お父さん、今年から新しく
Is this the real gravestone or is the virtual gravestone
Virtual
still?
one.
頑張るから見守って
What's a different one? It's her dad. But I mean, that's where they have gravestones, remember?
Oh, right.
すごい。
Oh, they got a cool dragon motif now.
耐震性の問題で壊しちゃうんですよね。
生成ルテン、シャンティタウンだって。
So Shantytown was getting toned down anyway.
それは決して悪いことだけではない。
そうですよね。
So what's the actual decision that they make?
さすがの出来栄えです。旧家内システムの代替装置を私たちは作り出すことができませんでした。だから生体脳に頼った。
その代わりを俺たち人間が務める。オープンな民意を反映した家内システムのバージョン 2.0。
完璧ではありませんが最善を尽くす。それがアスミ様の意志であり
願いでもある。俺様ちゃんたちはそうやって生きてこうよ。筑紫さん、どうしてここに？ちょっと仕事でね。コウキ君、お母さんの母校に編入して教職取るんだって。悪くない選択だと思うよ。筑紫さんたちは今日から警察官ですか？柄じゃないけどね。
Wait, those two weren't full police officers this whole time?
They were, sorry.
頑張りなよ。はい。
Oh, okay.
ねえマリちゃん、シュータ元気かな？なんで私に聞くんですか？自分で連絡してくださいよ。まあ、
I mean, you are his mother, after all.
I need to see him facing off against a supervillain here.
The problem is he's a superhero in a world without supervillains.
東京法令外特別地区、通称24区。正式に東京に組み入れられ、その名も虹見区と改められた。そこに住む人々が幸せな未来をつかめるかは彼らの、みんなの肩にかかっている。
Oh wait, I guess
Back to the night.
there are
He's
normal
holding it the wrong
villains.
way.
There are normal villains though.
怪我はねえか？食うか？俺の作った黄金サンライズ、焼きたてでうまいぜ。
Well,
I'm in shock.
why is that?
There's so much text to go through, and it came by so fast. A lot of it's so emotionally charged. I can't completely disentangle it yet.
See, I only got the emotional side. I
But
feel like if you weren't here, Griff, I would have been
yeah.
tearing up because I felt like
Oh no, I felt it too. I was just like, oh wow, this is actually a little quite touching right now.
that's why I think we were both quiet through the same scene because I was thinking to myself, man, I could feel tears coming out of my eyes, but if Griff says one fucking thing, I'm gonna lose it.
There we go. There you go. That's why I call it stone face reaction. Don't ever react.
Well, I think it's the product of you also being here. It would be, there's a camera on, and the camera has lights, and I'm eminently recognizing the fact.
Embarrassing if I showed emotion. I don't know anything but that.
It's not even that. It's just
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it's harder to do it in front of people. So it's just.
Yeah. But no, I think we both enjoyed that for sure. But trying to disentangle the ending. I think this was the centrist ending, wasn't it?
I don't know that it was because Kane
This was
System
the decide
2.0.
for yourself.
Oh no, Kane System 2.0 wasn't actually described all that well, so I don't know what it actually involved other than public opinion, which is, by the way, horrible. Any of us who are living through the last 2 years who have only had public media, right? Twitter, Facebook, any of that shit, already knows public opinion is the worst way to judge anything.
Don't let them name anything either. But no, like it very while it's not describing precisely what they're doing, they are giving the impression of we are going with the you all decide choice. They don't explicitly say what the result is or what their aims are here at the end, just that we are coming together, we're going to decide. This is the better centrist ending, I think, of the two we were fishing around.
It's very much that episode of Orville or Black Mirror, where everyone's just like, oh, there's that guy on the news again. We have to vote if he's guilty or not. Well, he already has a lot of guilty votes, so he must be guilty. That's that ending. That's the worst of all endings.
Well, no, like here's the good part about it. So I think the part that I latched onto and liked the most with this whole series is that it always kind of keeps coming back to this idea of everyone in a community coming together and doing things for their good, right? Of actually like going through the process of showing like these people are here together, they represent this place, they're discussing it, they're coming together, they're trying to do something positive. And here I think it broadened it out from all those smaller moments, and it ends up on here's the entire district doing that now. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. This is a good individual idea standing alone on its own, but it still didn't resolve the actual text it was throwing out at us, right? It choose your own ending here. That's what we got.
The problem is that the subtext that was playing out got interrupted by the main characters, so we couldn't see an actual playing out of what would have happened. Because once again, the characters interrupt, which forces the Kane system to try and stop them, which starts labeling random people as terrorists.
Oh, right, you're talking more like the specifics of the episode.
No, I'm not talking about the specific episodes. I'm talking about the last 3 episodes. We didn't see the actual resolution of what would have happened if people were given an informed decision about the future, which way it would go. We were given the main characters are interrupting things, which is forcing the Kane system to label them as terrorists, which is affecting those people's reactions. Like, I know this guy, he's not a terrorist, things are bad now. Now these other people are terrorists, they're not terrorists though, things are bad now. The main characters are interrupting the people's normal course of thought process, and it's causing a ending that we wouldn't have got if it was purely philosophical. If it was purely philosophical ending, we're getting a ending interrupted, if you will.
Right, like the entire point of these characters is that if there's a trolley problem and they have to choose between two things, they're going to find a different way, right? That's been the text since episode 1, right?
Well, no, we have the 3 characters obviously represent, this is one way of thinking, this is one way of thinking, here's the middle way of thinking. I'm not saying that. I'm saying not what they represent in the in the philosophy of the show. I'm saying that the show had a philosophy, and then right about 2.5 episodes ago, the narrative took over. And the narrative of the show interrupts the philosophy of the show, which is why we got an ending where people aren't doing the philosophy, they're doing the narrative. Which is why I'm saying it's different and not following what we've been talking about.
Right, exactly. This ending was emotionally satisfying for the characters. They got what they wanted. They're in better places. They have grown and learned from all of this and such. It is a good narrative ending. But I wanted the philosophy.
What's why I'm saying is that about 2.5 episodes ago, we got cut off from that. In that we've been telling a story this whole time. We've been flashing back and forth between the past and present of characters. At some point, that had to catch back up to us. And the moment that they started interrupting the system to try and figure out the narrative and solve the narrative problems, we stopped being on the track of a philosophy problem, and we started working towards, well, what are the characters going to do versus what do people in general need to do.
Mm-hmm. Right, and that leads us into the no direct visible decision was made.
Well,
which way are they going to go? The text that they leave us is, well, it doesn't really matter as long as we keep trying.
Well, I mean, they all decided that the Kane system was good while it was working. That was what I took away from the "I love you" from everybody who didn't know who the hell she was. That was the we hear you talking about all the hard decisions you've made and how you've been keeping us safe this whole time and how hard that's been for you. We love you for keeping us safe. I think we got that mostly from the girl whose dad died. Mm-hmm. She said, you saved me, you kept me safe, I love you, as she's like the stand-in for everyone else who doesn't know who the hell Asumi was.
Right.
We love you, you did the best you could. Good. So, right, so we all recognize the Kane system, despite all the arguments before, narratively worked. It did a good job. Nobody got hurt. This wasn't a police state like it was turning into at the end because of all the riots and the terrorism thing, which was caused by the narrative of the show, not the philosophy of the show. We all recognize it was good, but it couldn't last forever because morals and ethics, this is wrong. We got to reveal that it's wrong. And that's what I was saying in the middle of the ending.
I guess there is a good anti-authoritarian message in there. The entire premise here at the end is that, wait a second, I feel bad doing this. This is an impossible task. There is no way for one single person, me, to choose a good outcome for literally everyone else. And then RGB steps up and goes, well, what if we all just decided it and worked together on it?
See,
there you go. That is at least a message in there, but it is hidden behind all the emotional.
That's why I was saying in the middle of the ending, my little sci-fi outbreak that I did there. Why don't they just plug some people in there sometimes, part-time? And they need a brain, right? The system works just fine, and they just need a brain, right? So just plug yourself in part-time.
Yeah, there was so much going on in there, I couldn't keep up. But to answer you now, it's not the amount of time they're in there, it's that the task is an overwhelming, impossible to answer thing.
No, I'm saying it's not even overwhelming. It was overwhelming for her because she kept getting interrupted by her own friends. So literally, you just need the most antisocial person plugging them in. But no, what I'm saying is, obviously, it's not good for one person, right? Just have like 10, 20 people, just like part-time job. I give up my brain for 10 hours a day for the Kane system, can do all these calculations.
I want to say that's the implication of the Kane 2.0 that they give like 3 sentences to, right?
They say public opinion. That's what
they mean by public opinion. They mean that they are doing the thing that you're talking about on a wide scale with everyone. They're not putting it all onto one person or even a small group of people. Which, we need a whole other series to cover that one and watch it melt down too, but they're trying, right?
Again,
they took your idea and they are attempting it in some
That's your supposition of what it means. I don't agree that's just what it means. I
Again, we
think,
got 3 sentences of it, so I'm working with what
yeah,
I got.
I think you're swinging for the fences on what I pitched as an idea, but at the same time, I think what they did was the horrible Black Mirror Orville episode where it's a court of public opinion, and it's gonna work out horribly because that's the worst way to do this.
Well, like they said in the text as well, you know what? As long as we kind of accept the result and we keep trying, I think we'll be okay. That's their answer to it.
Which is also unsatisfying.
Yes, it is.
So long as we
Because
accept the
these are
result,
real problems still that do require a resolution, and they don't necessarily play nicely with each other.
and again to the moment before it all broke down, we were faced with our 2 options. We didn't even get the 3rd option from Mass Effect. We had the everyone's free, dead bodies in the streets, or here's a completely safe environment, you just lose out on your own privacy and everything you do will be recorded and uploaded.
I choose to 50-50 it with the Reapers.
I mean, to be fair, between the 2 choices, I would choose safety again, and obviously you choose bodies in the streets.
A great way to put it right there.
Again, the standout. That was the standout, right? I mean, obviously, there's going to be people that would watch this and they would watch the camera and the camera boxing people's faces and recording all their information. Like, I fucking told you! They'd be screaming at their television sets like this would be the worst thing in the world. They could accept bodies in the streets because that's justice, right? Versus this is government out of control. See, I would choose safety and having my numbers recorded, all and everything, and my movements. And I'm fine. People track me. I don't go the fuck anywhere. I am the least case of your government tracking system ever. Versus, I don't want to be stabbed in the street by a guy who lost everything to someone else who thought that they had justice in mind.
Right. So, like, the real-world philosophy take of it is that an oppressive system is itself violent inherently, and the things it does to people in the end is also violence. And that's kind of the problem people have with oppressive systems. They kind of keep killing people. So it's like, okay, it's not bodies in the street, but we know where it's going.
Again, you're taking real-world examples of sorry, my brain just stopped
If we
that
had this
sentence.
hypothetical, super benevolent, authoritarian safety net, it would still be bad.
Again, you're saying that.
That is true. That's the premise I'm working from, so I'm sharing that out.
Imperfect, sorry, imperfect was the word that just escaped me all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You're talking about real-world imperfect systems, whereas we're talking about a sci-fi system which apparently seemed to work fairly well. Again, we were given the example of it not working when it started labeling people randomly as terrorists. But
right, when
that
she was having mental breakdown.
Yeah, that was because of the main
Which is
characters.
a different problem here, necessarily, than from the strict philosophical sense. I guess in a way you could say that she was, at a certain point, the literal dictator of the system. She could literally have pulled a Shodan and just taken control or whatever she wanted, but she's not a terrible evil person. So here we go. This is the best possible person in control of this, and she goes, "This is terrible."
No, she didn't say. She didn't say this is terrible. She just said that she could stop. Here's the thing.
She doesn't like it.
Here's the answer to this. If we had gotten a person like her from somewhere outside of the 24th Ward, like just a random stranger, didn't know anybody in the 24th Ward, things would have worked perfectly. We just wouldn't have had a show.
So here's like a funny anime comparison. Psychopaths. I think I talked to you briefly before. You haven't seen it, right?
No, I didn't like the look of the show.
Do you care about like a big spoiler at the end?
Go ahead, give it. Well, hold on. You know what?
Viewers, big spoiler for Psychopaths.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Here. Just so you know, mute yourself for a while. We're not going to dwell on it too long. They have the exact same thing. They have a big computer system that tells people what to do and tries to do the safety. It does percentages, and they sent out a bunch of cops to go shoot those people before they commit a crime. It turns out later that the computer is actually a bunch of people's brains strapped in, and they're all just calculating it. And it turns out only like the really superly distant people, the exact kind of person you're suggesting for this system, get put into that one. And what it does is that it specifically starts favoring those people and says that they can do no wrong. Because it wants to slowly guide them into becoming incorporated, because it's also kind of doing a little bit of kooky stuff there, but it's not like it's the Borg or anything. It's more like a group of elites who think that they're better than everyone else because they're detached.
Okay, end of Psychopath spoilers. I don't know if we didn't set this up ahead of time, but
red flag here.
Okay, but here's the thing about that is that that's not the world that we were set up with in this world. So it's
right,
comparable.
But I feel like
it's
the comparable.
World of, it's comparable, but that's not the way that things set up here. With the Kane system and Sarg, they weren't out on the streets shooting people. We've literally seen not a single Sarg officer level a weapon at anybody, except for right here at the very end. And then she was afraid to even do it. She aimed up in the air, had ample opportunity to then shoot the guy, and couldn't do it because that's not the people we have.
Because people aren't a monolith, right? But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's not the characters
the
we have.
Who would totally have done it.
Well, I'm just saying that...
And they even showed the result. The police will cause bodies in the street because of protesters. They will shoot them. They said that they will do it.
In fairness, we've already seen the protesters trying to beat the cops with bars and rods for just trying to stop a graffiti, right? So, literally, I think at that point, if you're trying to kill the cops are verifiably able to use lethal force back against you. So...
But I guess,
well, hold on, before we move on, because I'm still on this whole...
I'm trying to figure out what our next topic is.
Well, no, I mean, that Sarg in this universe, not in Psychopaths, is more than just cops. They're also basically fire department, EMS. You know how in the real world we're saying cops have too much on their plate, and we're trying to dissociate...
the entire government organization in one big
well,
system.
Their entirety of the emergency response system, all in one. Which is why they're not all about, arresting people or shooting anyone. They're also there to stop somebody who's having a heart attack or prevent a car accident from becoming a worse car accident. That's why the system has apparently the ability to interact with those like road stoppers. But that's what I'm saying is that it's not a police state kind of system like you're indicating with Psychopaths. And the only problem the system ever encountered was when the person in it had relations to the people that it was having a problem with, which is why I'm saying that disassociation... let me finish here. The Kane system was working perfectly for everyone else. That's why we reached an ending where everyone's saying, I love you, because those are all the people, assumedly, that the Kane system has helped in some form or fashion. So you take all that 90% working just fine, and then you put a random stranger in there to eliminate the 10% of, I know these people, this is causing me distress, and you have 100% Kane system, I love you.
Right. Let's go back onto a little bit of the text there. I don't think it's strictly Asumi seeing her friends. They illuminated more, especially in this episode. Doing that job is not a great thing, and it causes a lot of stress and leads to the situation. Asumi just had some friends she could call so that she could try to calm herself back down again and push it off onto them, because the entire end episode here is that I don't want to decide. Don't make me do that. Won't you people just choose for me, please? And then she gets it at the end.
Before you move on, that sounded like sounded like you were going to move on to another thing. I do have a quick response to that.
Well, I was going to just add on to what I was saying, which is anyone else put in that situation will also become unstable. It's not just Asumi and having friends who are locals.
Okay, well, my response is I disagree with the entirety of that statement, only because it was already said by the characters themselves that she only wakes up, is I think the word that he used, for the friends incidents. That for the rest of the thing, the system is just working basically subconsciously. So
I think that's maybe more their assumption than like a literal fact.
well, they've said it, and they're the ones that live in the universe, so we kind of have to take it as given. And also, we've experienced it as the Watchers that the only times that she wakes up to call them is the time that they are literally in danger or her friends are in danger. She hasn't called them for, hey, that random guy's going to go into a car accident.
She didn't want to decide. She offloaded it onto her friends.
Right.
Which
only
checks
when
out.
only when her friends themselves were in danger, though.
Yeah.
So again, that's why the 90%.
There were other points maybe, but
No, we had the train incident, which was her friend, because we've seen her in the past. Remember, she was painting on the wall. They knew each other. They were friends. There was the hurricane, which same person, by the way, was there, and a bunch of her other friends from the ward were also in that place.
man, on retrospective in their universe, they got to look back on those instances at some point and go, wait a second, was she better friends with that girl than she was with us?
Well, again, the very first two incidents...
she was, actually.
The very first two incidents of call... Well, she did... In the flashbacks, we see her spending more time with that girl. Because it's usually, I'm standing over here next to this girl...
She gave her life to save her in the fire.
Well, it's just in the flashback, she's standing next to that girl, and also, you remember there's the scene where she's baking in that place, and she's washing dishes, and she has the memory of her standing next to her, also washing dishes, because they just spend all their time together. That redheaded girl wouldn't have been friends with RGB if it wasn't for Asumi, because she's the one that brought her into the group.
Yeah. Asumi pulled a lot of legwork before the series began, that's for sure.
That's why we got so many flashbacks. But yeah, no, the entirety of what was said in the control room before in previous episodes and was shown to us through what's actually happening was that 10% of the time she wakes up for only when her friends are in danger. 90% of the time she's unconscious, which is also why Green was trying to prevent this for her from waking up by physically controlling when her friends were in danger. Like, keeping that information out of the system, so I assumed that he was, censoring data from reaching her.
So this is where I probably will go ahead and put a pin on this, where it's like, alright, we're having trouble figuring out how to officially interpret it, and that definitely is coloring how we see the scenario playing out, for sure, right?
I like that's your description of it. I'm very much 100% sure I'm right, and it seems to me that you're 100% sure you're right. So it's not difficulty
I'm putting
explaining.
a pin and saying, this is a point of disagreement. We could disagree all day. We probably want to resolve the episode at some point.
Well, I'm just saying it's not a not a difficulty. It's just disagreement. You're sitting on your side over there with no problem. I'm sitting on my side with no problem.
Right. So we have we have Asumi and her specific situation problem, which is incorporated into, I think, probably the main dilemma of the entire series, which is at the end they say is strictly safety versus freedom. How do you feel about that? So they didn't resolve it at the end, but how do you feel about the way the entire series portrayed it, which way it was aiming for, if you think it aimed at all, and
I
already
gave the whole diatribe of which side I sat on, and the whole vision at the end. Yeah, no, I mean, I think I've already said my piece about I fall on the side of safety versus freedom. I'd rather not worry about the... God, there's so much. There's so much of the worry in the world that we live in about people just doing harm to other people that I can't.
Right, but what did you like about that side of the people who were on that side of Green, what they did, and how you would like things to be? Or how do you feel like they were portrayed? Is that a way you like them being portrayed, or did something bad happen in there at all?
I mean, we already know I 100% support the Kane system, and that's already support the Green. Yeah, you gotta let me respond,
for Green's team. How do you feel about Green's team?
You gotta let me start and then finish, Griff. You can't interrupt me in the middle.
I'm trying to get a specific type of answer.
Well, then you have to prompt me for the answer, because I start and you're like, we already know that.
That's what I'm doing. Continue.
Well, I'm saying that. Well, now I don't know where I was about to say because I had a thought process and you interrupted. Like I said, I was already 100% behind the Kane system, and thus I'm 100% behind Green. And then when Green started editing, like I was saying before, censoring the Kane system's information to prevent her from feeling distress, that's not too far from government censorship if you think about it. It's just an allusion towards if Kane is the people and Green represents government, then clearly he is censoring information from the people in order to ease distress that might be felt by facts that would be detrimental to the people. Man, this is really a 1984, isn't it? When you say things,
so do you feel
God,
that
he's
he was
saying the
fully
part
in
out
the right
loud.
the whole time?
Say what?
Do you feel he was fully in the right the whole time?
Yeah.
There you go.
I think I still think he was correct at the end of the day. That the actions he took, the philosophy he was driven by, was one that caused the least harm to the least amount of people. And I know your argument is typically that government authority is enacted violence in that even if it's not physical, it's not poverty, it's economic, it's sociological. There are things that are violent that are beyond violence themselves, and I would say that a system working at 100% to create a society that is equal for everyone isn't a tyranny, even if it's in total authoritarian control.
Right. Well, I mean, like you said, two contradictory things, which is equal for everyone, but authoritarian control, which implies someone there is more equal than the rest
Well,
of them,
again,
right?
this is a science fiction
That's the
show,
fundamental
though. This is
problem.
a science fiction show, though, which means that the computer itself would be the authoritarian regime here, while actually not legally being a person.
The perfect world is ruled by a 14-year-old corpse.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, sure.
Isn't it in your favorite show?
Isn't it? Wait, which one's the favorite one?
Which is the one? Yeah, no, it's not Psychopaths.
What?
Which is the one where the guy has the eye thing, or he can just control people's minds?
Oh, Code Geass.
Yeah, Code Geass. Isn't that literally? Isn't the world created by a
Text is that he's an evil asshole for doing it.
Yeah.
That's the whole way through.
Isn't
He's
the perfect
an evil
world?
asshole.
Isn't the perfect world controlled by a 14-year-old corpse?
No, because he kills himself at the end.
Yeah, at the age of 14, right?
Gosh, what age is he? What?
He looks pretty young to me,
Griff. That's a confusing ass question, by the way. There's a lot of shit that goes down that makes it very hard to answer that.
So I'm just saying, perfect world's created by a 14-year-old corpse.
All right, so on my side, I really liked the opposite side of the argument here. I do think Red and his team are very much anarchists. I was very happy to see that. I'm very glad they didn't completely pull the rug out from under him like midway through or anything. He kept to principles. He wanted freedom and equality for people. He actually fought for it. He didn't like buy out into the system. The very, 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 very end of this is ever so slightly disappointing in that of the two parts, one, he's working with this business guy. It's very unclear what he's there about. And I don't entirely understand what maybe that guy's perspective is and how it actually works with Reds. That was confusing. I don't think there's a resolution to that. It was only a short period of time. Moving on. The second part is at the very end, he's writing Kane System number 2. After the entirety thing where he's going on about this, where he's like, yes, we're going to fight, we're going to have this freedom and all this, we're going to free Shantytown, even if it's going to change. He still ends up working for the government and creating a brand new system, which will cause more problems in the future.
Also, Shantytown's getting torn down anyway.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, not even for the reasons we fought about the entire time. Apparently, it's on a bad seismic area, which means it's a bad position to be in.
I think just that one big apartment building, but yeah.
They said all of Shantytown.
that was also that was at least funny for me. That was at least funny and doesn't have like any critical thing to say about like them trying to fight for what they believe in. Um, but I think then, given how it ended, my impression then would be that the author does at least somewhat understand and does somewhat undersympathize, but he's definitely in your camp somewhere. He
Well,
gave everyone a fair shot. He put everything out there, but I do believe maybe they were more in your camp.
well, two reactions to that. Well, one, I'm going to start with the more important one because it's one of these two is going to slip out of my mind as I'm talking.
Yeah.
Is I think the shantytown was going to be destroyed anyway. Facet has more of an impact than just wiping it away. I feel like it's more of a long-term conditions that you're fighting for now may not matter in the future. Sort of that kind of real quick jab to our anyone following the philosophy here that what you're fighting for it might be important now, but 100 years from now it might be meaningless to anyone else who cared.
I do think though there's two different things about it though. Early on, they're trying to destroy Shantytown specifically to turn it into malls and casinos, and that was the original text, right?
That was
That's what they're up in. Yeah, the businessman. That was his part. He's doing all this. He's buying up stuff, and he's being a bit shady about it because businessman. It's like, okay, cool. We understand that.
I just want to indicate
I think the
businessman, not the
ending
government.
is right. Yeah, they're different people. Yes. I think the ending is more positive because they're not bulldozing Shantytown to push people out and to put in a business. They are renovating it so that people can live there with a better building. That seems more positive. It is funny it's still being destroyed and they don't like go into the details, but I think it is a positive outcome
Well,
and
again,
one that they wanted.
that is a narrative look. I'm talking about philosophical. I want a waffle. I'm talking about the philosophy of meaninglessness. That time makes fools of us all. I don't know what I'm going for there. That basically that all of this stuff is transcendental. Transcendental. God, my brain is just dying on me in mid conversation. That none of this matters in the long term. That the ending of the show by presenting Shantytown as something that was going to happen regardless of the people living there. And by the way, they've already been kicked out anyway by the events of the ending of the show. Just means that everything you fight for one day is going to be meaningless. And it's very much a nihilistic view in the midst of all the other views that we're being given. And I feel like just because all we've been presented to at the end of the show has been narrative, we might miss the nihilistic point of view being introduced right at the end.
I think there are 2 points of about this that I got. One is nihilism and talking about that. The other one is the text within the show. So the text within the show, you remember that episode where the girl is like, my father is dead, why are you making art when it's just going to be washed away and gone forever? And they demonstrate that, hey, yeah, maybe a thing won't last forever, but it was still good to construct it while it was there, and it still has meaning when we created it and when it goes away. That doesn't necessarily automatically vanish. It wasn't a completely worthless endeavor to have ever done anything. And that's generally like a message of positive hope and like, go do something, don't just do nothing, right?
No, sure, it's positive nihilism. But at the same time...
the other part would be the real world answer, which is, yeah, everything is meaningless. Welcome to the world. There is no reason for us to be here. It all sucks all the way through. And now let me introduce you to all of the postmodernist philosophers who say, yeah, of course it's meaningless. That's why we're going to do something. And that is the ultimate answer to nihilism. You have to go do it yourself.
Well, again, the ultimate answer to nihilism is that it only matters so long as somebody remembers. If nobody remembers that you did anything, did you do anything at all? So that's why nihilism in the
But is
end.
that the meaning you decided? If the meaning you decided on is that things are only worthwhile if they last forever, go build something that lasts forever then. That's your meaning. Life now has meaning. Nihilism defeated.
Until that thing that lasts forever doesn't last forever, and also,
you keep trying then. At least
also
then
my
your life has
definition,
meaning attempting it, right?
my definition only lasts so long as somebody remembers that I defined it that way. See, memory is the least lasting
You've chosen
thing.
a very narrow one, and it's hard to make that one work, right? But hey, if you made that everything, if you made that your focus, and if you dedicated yourself to being remembered forever, and you exploded a star and turned it into a massive diamond shaped like yourself, the whole universe will remember you,
Is that a
and at least that
JoJo's
would be
reference?
somewhat interesting. Season 7 JoJo, everybody. They explode the sun and turn into a diamond to be remembered forever.
Well, I think I'm more leaning on the
It's called Diamonds Are Forever.
I think I'm more leaning on the definition of immortality, where some people just often think of my bloodline as my immortality, or
Yeah.
But more typically, it's as long as I'm remembered, I'm immortal, because so long as the thought of me is my immortality, and that is, I think, the ultimate end at nihilism is that once you're forgotten, you're gone forever. But no, my second thing is, before we go too far in nihilism,
let's leave nihilism town.
The thing I thought I was going to forget, I don't know, I think I side more with nihilism than anarchy, but anyway, the guy that you were defending that I called an insane man for wanting to tear down the system because of because of a perceived almost car accident.
More rational than it looks.
Yeah. Well, no, he goes complete terrorist at the end, because you remember his last lines in the entirety of the show is that we're gonna burn it down so we can create something new.
That's a very positive statement for me.
Yeah, for you. For me, it's insanity, because it's literally a terrorist line. We're going to burn this city down and make it new. It's literally what a murderer says sometimes. Like, oh, you're beautiful, I'm gonna burn you. I mean, that didn't come out across right. Not a murderer, but you know what I'm saying. It's literally any terrorist manifesto is about burning it down to create something new.
You gotta tear down the old stuff to build your new thing. That's honestly just straight up a fact at some point.
No, you're never going to be on a guest spot on Bob Vila's This Old House, Griffin, because sometimes you just need to refurbish, and sometimes a little bit of varnish makes the old look new. You sometimes just need to add a new cover of paint, and sometimes the old systems work for the new generation. Because you don't gotta burn it down. You know what burning down is? That's just calories in the air, and it's just a lot more wasted effort building a new thing, which is probably going to very much mirror the old thing.
Right. So on a making the topic obvious note, this is the reform versus doing something new kind of argument, right? So we can put a pin on that one too. I think this show didn't really cover that a whole lot. It didn't suggest we could make the Kane system different and better. The premise is, like, we're going to make a very simple philosophical problem. The Kane system can do what it advertises perfectly. It just has a cost.
Well, I mean,
it doesn't suggest that you can manipulate it into a new thing.
The show,
so I guess that's maybe what the centrist ending.
The show very much does cover reform. It was the last arc of the show.
Maybe you're right. Yeah.
The whole referendum about the vote to keep the Kane system or not was literally political reform in a nutshell.
Yeah. I just the sour taste in my mouth. I don't.
I mean, Griff, you gotta admit, once again, your side of the field, the anarchist side of the field, was working with capitalist businessmen, and the perceived future given by the future machine was dead bodies in the streets. I gotta say,
it's like mint and orange juice at the same time.
Oh, you mean battery flavor?
This taste. Yeah, it's just burning.
It's like shoving a 9-volt on your tongue.
I need to stop tasting this. I need to wash it out with, like, I need a good philosophical anime to follow this up with so I can forget about this taste.
I mean,
and remember the good part of it, when it was mint or it was orange juice. Not when you mixed. Oh my gosh. I made the perfect centrist metaphor. It's like.
No. You don't fall to centrism because it tastes bad. You fall to centrism because it's easy. I
But I
feel
would
like
genuinely say it would be better to have chosen mint or orange juice than to mix them together.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's probably more like you have two hills. One hill is growing one hill has orange fields, and the other, I don't know where mint comes from actually.
It's like a herb.
Okay, well, one's an herb field, and between them is a runoff wash divot, so that the rainwater has somewhere to go.
With the runoff ditch.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, all of our emotions, all of our thoughts, we're basically like water, right? Water goes the path of least resistance, and a centrist will always fall to that middle divot because that's the path of least resistance carried all the way. Whereas a lot of us are going to follow the roots of our thoughts on the orange fields or the mint.
I think that does give me a decent thought here. So, the anti-centrist take of this. So, you laid it out pretty clearly. The centrist angle is the path of least resistance, where you're maybe not really going with anything. You're just going with the flow. You're not really choosing. The text of the show is the people within the district will now go ahead and consciously and actively be choosing the path that they're on. I think that is a part in the text of the show. Maybe makes it a little bit better. Maybe it's a little bit of water to wash out the mint and orange juice.
Not to burst your bubble again, but I also disagree there.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like they're very much in this, again, path of least resistance, right? That doesn't mean if you're left, you're going to slowly inch towards the right. You're going to inch as far right until something you think or say causes someone to push back against you, in which case you're going to lean back to the left again until you say something that's going to put someone on the right is going to pull you back in. It is a centered point of view. But my point of view for the show, why I bring this up, is that these people were centrist until something caused them to argue against it, namely, hey, these people I know are becoming terrorists. And that is the right pushing back against them. Then the police show up, and then they're fighting against them. They had an actionable event to cause them to lean out of centrism towards one way or the other. Now, without that event happening, they're going to fall back to the path of least resistance, which is where they are. Con 8.0.
At the very least, the thing the show likes to keep doing is that at least everyone is fully informed now, and that seems to change things a bit. So it's always good for that, I think.
I can't help but point out how many episodes you thought everyone was fully informed, and then they got fully informed, and then something else happened. Oh, now they're fully informed.
Well, about the text of the thing that's happening in front of them, yes. Like, new things do happen and they have to be informed about it. Usually the heroes are the first one to be aware of the problem, but sometimes the rest of the city ends up learning to.
Even us, the viewer, weren't fully informed until the last episode, so nobody, not even the people operating the Kane system, were fully informed until this last episode.
Hey, there's got to be at least some drama in there, right? Alright. So, how do we end this off? We need a good final note. What are your thoughts, your hopes, anything you want to end this off
with? I feel like since, spoiler alert, we also just finished the last episode of Rust Eater Bisco, I feel like we have to take our step back from the philosophy angle. We just ran ourselves dry on that, and go back to the anime angle.
Let's do the anime.
Would you recommend this on your own? Would you watch it again? Or also, if a season 2 came out, would you watch a season 2?
I would definitely recommend this to other people, especially people who I think also are interested in talking excessively for hours on end about philosophy like us. I would watch this again because I feel like I'm missing text every now and then, and I want to dive more into it. Maybe they'll do a sub version later, or maybe it's coming out right now.
You mean this was the sub version? You mean a dub?
Dub, yes.
And the dub is already out. I think the dub is like 3 episodes behind this.
There we go. I would rewatch the dub and then complain about the voices. And I would definitely watch the season 2, where Blue is now also a superhero baker and is part-time, and he gets a supervillain and he has rocket skates. I think that would be amazing.
Right.
It would be, I want to see this jump the shark and then just do something preposterous. They were building up to having the supervillain halfway through, and then it wasn't, which was a great twist, and I loved it. But I also still want the supervillain.
I mean, in fairness, though, we didn't have
They can do a season 2. They do have the opportunity. They just have to pick a new problem. That's
I mean,
all.
in fairness, we didn't have the Booster Gold / Blue Beetle superhero outfit for Blue at the time, so.
Yeah. And I guess, what about you?
I'm probably not going to, but I could see myself at some point watching it again because there's a lot of not only subtext that I could have missed, but there's also, I imagine the show is full of things that once I know the ending like I do now, I could go back and watch and see, oh, I know that guy from this scene later on, or hey, I know why they're doing this thing in the background now, and it makes more sense than it did before.
Yeah, and I think definitely, like, one thing that would help us both out is, like, being able to just pause, digest something that happened, or, like, go back 10 seconds and realize, like, wait, was that the control room?
As for season 2, no, I don't think so. Well, here's my thing: is I think I
Go
only
for it.
watched it because you're here.
Yeah.
I, in a vacuum, don't care. In a vacuum, without you to argue against, I don't care. I'm back to
You are
nihilism.
highly argument motivated. That is for sure. We know this for sure.
Yeah, yeah. In a vacuum, I'm on the nihilism side that none of this matters.
But yet you're willing to talk for hours on end about it. That's the fun part.
Yeah, because I'm alive. While I'm alive, hey, I feel like this is
the anti-nihilist statement.
It's not the anti-nihilism statement. It's actually it's actually the vampire creed. If I think about it, the vampire creed is the vampire religion from, I want to say, Washington State, and I can't remember the city, where it's so long as I'm alive, my life is given meaning, and it very much kind of mirrors it very much kind of mirrors the Satanist code. Which is actually a lot more moral driven than you would think it would be.
Right.
But yeah, no. Again, while I'm alive, my life is given meaning, which does not dissuade me from the nihilism point of view that once I'm dead, my life had no meaning because I'm no longer there to influence.
Well, I guess more the fact is, like, nihilism is an experience while you're alive saying that there's no meaning. So if your stance is that I have meaning while I'm alive, at least then there is no nihilism while you're alive. There you go.
Right, but
there's nothing, so it doesn't matter.
That doesn't negate the knowledge of what nihilism means and that meaning while I'm dead that I have no meaning.
We could be here for hours, folks.
Well, yeah, I don't think the standard debate is nihilism versus anarchy because those aren't.
It's such a.
I don't think you're gonna.
We've ended up on.
Well, because anarchy is a political point of view, whereas nihilism is a life point of view, and not many politicians are going to be up there on the nihilism. Life has no meaning, so I'm going to get rid of taxes.
I don't know. I think a nihilist politician this election season, I think that'd be really exciting. Just someone gets up on stage and goes, "Fuck it, it doesn't even matter. Vote for me."
To be fair, I mean, I could see it only from the perspective of, you know what, fuck your body up, take all the drugs you want. We're gonna legalize all the drugs, full control of your body, because life doesn't matter, right?
You invented a platform I'm gonna vote for. Good job. Vote Theta 2024. That's the next year, right? Yeah. Okay.
Well, on the other hand of things, I could see a nihilist very much going into capitalism because fuck it, we don't need a general government fund for anything. You know what? Keep all your money, spend it how you want. Life doesn't matter.
Nothing matters. That's why I hoard wealth to excessive amounts and make the number go up. That's why I also play 20 cookie clicker games at the same time.
Well, fortunately, most cookie clicker games are automatic, so
it's yeah.
You can't be really said to be playing them if you're not actually interacting with them.
All right, so I think I've definitely exhausted myself here. How about you? I'm all out.
I mean, I'm sure that once we finish this this recording, you're gonna be thinking, "Ah, shit, there was one more thing," and then it's
can go. Wait a second. Did Luke just kiss his sister? We're gonna do that later.
Well, yeah. The problem again is this is the final recording we're not coming back to 24th Ward. Did your favorite character remain your favorite character? Obviously, yours did.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You couldn't have fallen more in love with Red if I wanted you to.
I need to go grab him, and we need to go off on vacation together right now.
My favorite character turned out to be not as important to the story at all.
Oh.
Didn't show up except for 3 episodes.
Which one was your favorite? I've forgotten.
Red's a sidekick that has a actually, has a job and isn't a nobody who just does anarchism all day every day.
Oh, right. Friendship girl, yeah.
Saved Blue from a heart attack.
She had a good couple scenes early on, and then doesn't appear.
At the very beginning, she was doing like superhero shit on top of a building, like, she was balancing, beaming, catching shit falling out of the air, and after that, nothing.
Yeah.
But my problem is that I don't think I have a fallback. I don't think I would choose Green as my favorite character because he has a lot of idiosyncrasies that I don't think makes him like.
You're on his side. You don't necessarily enjoy him the most out of everyone.
Yeah, I'm on his side, but I don't think I'd be friends with the guy. So,
yeah.
God, I think that police woman probably be my favorite.
Oh, the one who like fired up.
Yeah, well, the one I keep repeating. This is our hero from episode 1 because you remember that girl stuck on the train tracks. This she's not a policewoman, sorry. She's a SARG officer.
Right, she ran off onto the tracks to try to save her.
Well, she tried to. She's never going to outrun a train, but she put in the effort because she cares about people.
She's got the heart of a hero. I'd give her that for sure.
She shows up in every other scene too, and it's like, we got to stop this girl from putting graffiti down. We just want to talk to you. Oh God, we're gonna get beaten to death by this mob because your fucking anarchist group is all about violence in the most direct form. And then, she doesn't want to shoot Blue in the face. So, literally, shoots twice, by the way. She shoots twice, intentionally misses twice, and then can't fare to pull the trigger a second time, which is why she basically lets Blue assault the other guy next to her, and then has him thrown on her. Has that running also subtext of not a romance plot, but any guy that touches me is clearly in love with me sort of anime thing. Well, no, because there was another time where another guy.
You're just too right about the cliche.
Well, and there's another time where a guy got knocked out. I think it was when the terrorist got shot. Another guy gets knocked out, lands in her lap, and she's like, not because the guy's knocked out, because this guy's touching me.
All right. So, lesson learned: don't touch Theta, everyone. And I think so. Is that everything you got?
I'm really trying to make sure it is, because, again, we are not coming back.
We could be here all day, so I think we'll go ahead and we'll end it here. This has been an amazing series, at least for me, and I think we've all had fun here. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, this has been Stoneface Reaction, and we'll see you for the next season of anime. See you, everybody. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?